I'd rather be home watching Monday Night Football myself. But much of what you say is, I really appreciate your comments, and particularly about where those grants could go, and those comments become part of the management plan, or part of the at least public input in the plan, which we'll discuss. The what happens if, those are impossible questions. That's if we what happens if? What happens if?
Well, that's what makes you get also reckless.
But I do need to. The reason I rose was to answer the question about Fort Lincoln.
Right, and I don't mean that to be an accusation.
Well, it's a fair one, because there is a contradiction between those things, and I want to explain it. And I appreciate the opportunity to explain it, because I've been getting beat up for weeks without an opportunity to explain it. So I'd really like to. The first, it goes beyond that. There was an allegation that the Northern Plains Heritage Foundation used federal funds to lobby. That is absolutely untrue. The Fort Abraham Lincoln Foundation, the Fort Abraham Lincoln Foundation does retain, or did retain, a group called the Greystone Group in D.C., and had done so since, I don't know, 10 years, maybe, give or take. And had been very successful, because they had, we had rebuilt Honest Land Village, received many funds that were well invested at Fort Lincoln. CCC projects, yeah, and the museum at Fort Lincoln. There's a lot of good projects. But the lobbying report, this comes out, and I learned about their filing a lobbying report only after our good friends, I'll name one, Curly Harland, pointed it out to me. There was a mistake there. These lobbyists, we never considered lobbyists. We hired them to do things like look for grants for us, talk to Congress, and we talk with our auditors every year. We tell our auditors precisely what we did and where we spent every dime. They know. And they even do federal audits for us. All that was done. All that was done. And our auditors told us that that was not lobbying. Okay. And so the auditors fill out the tax form. And there's a box on the tax form that should be checked. We lobbied. It was not checked that way. It was checked by our auditors that we did not lobby. I signed the tax form. I'm responsible for it. Sure. We have filed an amended return. Simple as that. No penalties, no problem. It's simply a matter of there was a difference of opinion over what was lobbying. Our lobbyists said they lobbied. We thought they were doing something else, and then the definition is that they did. And so it's been corrected.
Time's going on here. Let's take the next.
Let me make one comment. One of the remarks you made about this vague statement of natural resources and so on. That's something that I don't think anybody on the board is interested in doing as such. We're really focused on heritage tourism sites. What I think of when it comes to somebody in private industry, for example, might be some of the many members of Private Dakota, like I know in Washington, I don't know if they're still there, but the folks who had sort of this little camp and they had the great big canoe, and they were that was a supplement to their farming income because they had this super little site. And I think there's many around, and that's kind of where I see them going. We can write it in such a way that our intention would be very clear, even if the law is a little vague. We make it passionate. Thank you.
Thanks for so much time. I guess maybe we're just kind of a little scared because now we have the law, then the meeting. What happens if now we have something wrong, and then we pick up the pieces?
And two, like in terms of coming to meetings, we're hopeful that we can use things like 15-minute surveys, internet, calling, stuff like that, so that this is a big work with lobbying for the king, but it isn't. We'll have all these meetings multiple times, I'm sure. But thank you.
My name is Matt Schaefer, and I'm from Wilton. I went to a meeting about 2 weeks ago that showed a lot of minuses for this heritage thing. Tonight I heard nothing but pluses. For example, if you were to give the Ducks Unlimited or something $500,000 and tell them to buy 500 acres, they could turn around and give that to you, could they not? Afterward. That's the way it came out 2 weeks ago.
No. We can't use federal funds. And we sort of talked about,
You can give it to a Ducks Unlimited or something like that. You can't use it to buy land. However, you could designate somebody to do that, could you not?
no,
And they would give it back to you.
no. I really, yeah, it follows the money. We can't use federal funds. And if we tried to pass it through like you're talking, I think that would be a significant violation of federal law. We wouldn't do that.
I heard no minuses at all tonight. And this is the second meeting I'm having to attend already due to two people, Mr. Potter and Mr. Dorfman. And I don't like that.
Well, by the way, I just have to make, you know, we're talking about positive things. I personally really only do see positive things coming out of this, and I appreciate everyone's comments because we can avoid any negative things and just focus on the positive. But I want to thank Tracy and all the other board members and so on, because all of us are working on this for years, and we don't, you know, I mean, we're just doing this because we love history, and we love the history of this area. I see only positive coming out of it. You may not believe it, but
You're in a different angle than I am.
yeah.
You're getting the money for it, I'm getting the
We're not, we don't have any money, and if you don't ask for anything, we won't give you any. Believe you.
My name is Jim Pools, I'm the Burley County Commissioner, but I'm not speaking for the Burley County Board. I'm a little confused. Why take a broad brush and paint 5 counties and designate, or try to designate it as a heritage center? We've identified how many spots that are included in this heritage designation. Why don't we brush those spots and keep these people out of it? It's obvious. For 1 hour, we haven't heard any positive comment about it. And I think if we stayed here till midnight, we wouldn't. Paint what we've got, work toward that. Nobody in here is against heritage. Nobody in here is against preserving anything we have. I just think it's an unnecessary burden on a lot of people to have to defend their property rights. And I'm not much of a politician, but I'd have guessed this would have happened when it started, because I know how people protect their property rights in North Dakota, and they have a right to do so. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, John.